Good afternoon. Welcome back. A couple of things. Excuse me. It's November, early November in Pennsylvania, and if one thing's guaranteed for sure, the weather's bipolar. So today it's almost 70 degrees, and my allergies are killing me. I think we're finally going to be into the cold tomorrow. When you get done with this video, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe if you're into what you see here. And I would also like to suggest another channel. I'm going to put the link down there somewhere. It's Priority One Survival, a gentleman out of Texas who has an interesting perspective on things relevant to our community. So, that being said, let's get into it. Say hi to Roman. Hi, Roman. He's just going to let his ears stick into the video. So we had our midterms, and well, that didn't go quite the way a lot of us thought it would. It was not the red tsunami that we had planned for or been promised, but you know, hey, that is what it is, and there's a couple of reasons for that. We'll do that in another video. The other is things are heating up again overseas in Ukraine between them and Russia. And I have deliberately kept off that third rail because my opinion is going to piss a lot of people off. And so be it if it does. There's a couple of different camps. There's the group of people that think Vladimir Putin is this great white knight of freedom, and he's liberating Ukraine from the grip of tyranny. And when he's done with them, he's going to come save us. To those folks, I give you a cautionary tale. Don't be so fed up with your own government and your own tyrant that you're willing to trade him for another one. Because realistically, what Putin is looking to do over there is not liberate so much or unseat an illegitimate government. He just wants to replace one illegitimate government with his own illegitimate government, if that makes any sense to you. Everybody focuses on Zelensky being a puppet of the Obama administration, which is, it's true. We propped him up, we put him in office. The guy they replaced was just Putin's puppet, and he wants his puppet back. So that's what this is about. And how can I put this? The need to support one bad guy over another bad guy by a lot of the population here in America, it's mind-blowing to me. Right, because you're supporting a KGB thug over a corrupt pissant, and that's pretty much the way it is, or you're supporting a corrupt pissant over a KGB thug. To my mind, hands off, let them fight it out. If the Ukrainians want Zelensky as their leader, they'll fight for him. If the Ukrainians want Putin's guy as their leader, they'll put their hands up and surrender. But as far as us funding, like throwing good money after bad at the Ukrainian military, it's not our fight. It's a business investment for the big guy and his son. But we're treating it like it's the 51st state. And I don't want to get too far into that. Like, I don't want to dive too far into that because then I'm going to sound like those guys that can't get Vlad's little impaler far enough down their throat to, to say the poor Russians. Well, no, the poor Russians invaded another country, so they can eat a bag. The Ukrainians, well, they're getting force-fed a bag. They're being used as puppets by the Russians and NATO. And they seem to be looking for one evil over another. That's not so far as to where I wanted to go with this as the threat of nuclear, right? I guess that's a good lead-in because, courtesy of the United States, the Russians aren't doing as well as they thought. Myself and one of my subordinates, when this all started, were like, 2 weeks, it's going to be over. Well, 8 months later, here we are. That's because we're funneling money and weapons into the Ukraine. Yeah, I know, some of them are ending up on the black market. That's what happens when you give money to a corrupt Eastern European country. Newsflash. No surprise there. But the folks that are mentally masturbating nuclear war, we're not even mentally masturbating it, just overly concerned with it. Like, oh my God, Putin's going to nuke Ukraine. What's going to happen if Putin nukes Ukraine? Well, Ukraine's going to be fucked if Putin nukes Ukraine. That's what's going to happen. Do I see it turning into MAD, mutually assured destruction? Growing up in the Cold War, under the umbrella of MAD with the Soviet Union and Gorbachev and Reagan and duck and cover drills, I don't see us there now. Quite honestly, because people in power want to stay in power, and you can't occupy something you destroy. There's no point. So my thoughts on this, if he were, it would get all nukey, right? It would be a one and done. Like, hey, we're just going to do this to prove we can. You guys need to cut the shit. Otherwise, there's a couple thousand more of these right behind it. So, excuse me, my throat. Do I see him launching everything? No. I see him launching one to prove a point, if he even does that. There's far better conventional weapons in everyone's arsenal that don't leave an area radioactive. And yeah, I know tactical nuclear weapons don't leave an area radioactive. They're an air burst. They'll blow up a specific point, throw some radiation at it, and it'll all be clear in a few days. However, does Putin necessarily want the stink of that on his back? Because in his mind, remember, he's doing the righteous thing. He's denazifying. And he doesn't necessarily want to appear the baddie. He wants to appear the liberator that some people here seem to think he is. I don't get that. And don't cite the 97% approval to be annexed. Putin learned about voting from Stalin. And if you believe the 97% annexation, well, we can talk about another election, just not here. So there is that. But if nuclear war is what you're overly concerned with, and that's, oh my God, there's going to be a nuke landing in my basement tomorrow, I would not be concerned with that. I would be far more concerned with the ramifications of what happens if he lights one off over there. Would we get involved? Maybe. Would Poland? They seem to be the only ones that want a piece of that. But as far as the United States, I don't think our current administration has the appetite for war on that scale. Exhibit A, our exit from Afghanistan. There's no military mind working there. Ground war in Europe, or ground war in Europe with Russia, let's go there, would be a long drawn out, protracted slugfest, basically. It's what we trained and planned for back in the day when I was a Marine in the late 90s, early 2000s, prior to the global war on terror. It's not the insurgent fight that we've been fighting for the last 20 or so years in Iraq and Afghanistan. Totally different kind of fight. So do I see us entering into that? No. Do I see us continuing to fund it? Yeah, unless the new Congress critters can say, hey, no more money over there, but we just sent them, I don't know how many $billion. So for what that's worth, right? We can't solve our own problems, but you know, more money over there. Anyway, we'll get into the whole nuclear thing in another video. This is just a little current affairs setup, a little taste, if you will. Be safe, watch your six. Out for now.